Hey, you shaved lately? You a little hairy down there? Harem, scarum, you know what I'm saying?
Hairy down there.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know it.
Why, is that because you got the performance package 5.0?
Oh, it could be.
Could be from Manscaped. Now, here's the deal. It includes the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, your ball's new best friend. It's got 2 skin-safe blade heads for a fresh start, whether you're tidying things up or going for a clean, smooth finish to kick off the year.
Yeah?
Yeah. You could still say Happy New Year with Manscaped. You see what I'm saying? It's not too late. It's not too late.
It's a little late.
It's not late. No, it's not.
Coming up on, it's more Happy Valentine's than Happy New Year.
Check out the Beard and Balls bundle. Well, this is even more important then.
Yeah, so
Valentine's
start
Day.
with that.
So say the correct thing.
All right.
Start with that.
Okay. 11
This
million
ad
men.
sucks.
11 million men worldwide who have trust Manscaped. Use the code Dangle. 20% off and free shipping. Use Dangle, manscaped.com. 20% off free shipping. Happy Valentine's Day.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hey, Maddie, what happened?
What happened,
Morning.
Maddie?
What happened, Maddie?
Morning.
Hey, Maddie.
Just taking a sip of my first
Yeah.
coffee.
Oh, right now.
Oh,
right,
did I
right
name
now.
it
on
for
the
you?
job.
Oh, wow.
Sleeping on the job.
Okay.
Unreal.
For anybody who's listening, when the intro goes with Adam or Steve Dangle, Adam then Jesse Blake, Maddie usually switches the camera to each of us so that we appear when it says our names. And this morning, today, Maddie was asleep at the wheel.
Listen, I
didn't do shit.
I get a get out for jail free card because I got the date right for the Boston Pizza thing. So without
yeah.
me,
You didn't get it right.
without me, you
just noticed
would
that
have
we didn't say it.
just had a bunch of shit in the comments. So
I think what Maddie is saying is we set a low standard for this show. We just are constantly screwing things up, and now she
oh come on,
takes license to screw things up also.
Well,
3v1 is so unfair.
We need to step it up.
Let me give you
Oh,
something.
yeah? Oh, yeah?
let me give you something.
This happens to be all the time, Maddie.
Let me give you something that's indeed correct.
Yeah.
February 12th.
Is what?
It's a Tuesday.
It's for what, though? What am I doing?
4 Nations Face-Off
Got it.
is kicking off that day. And we will be at Boston Pizza Stouffville doing a show. Okay? Yay. Yay. We've done a couple shows at Boston Pizza Stouffville. We love it there. It's a special location. And obviously, we're going to do our little show at doors open at 5:30. Show starts at 6:30. Canada plays at 8 because it's a Tuesday and the NHL hates your bedtime.
No, all the Four Nations games start at 8.
I know, but they hate your bedtime.
Well, okay.
Oh, who cares? Oh, we're worried about the West Coast. Okay. Watch during dinner. All right.
They're trying to make
All
it
right.
a more prime time event.
All right. Okay. Well, I stay up late now. I'm kidding.
None
It's
of those
actually
were words.
It's so much better to watch games in the West. Like when you live in the West, watching sports is just so much better.
I feel like they don't know that.
No, they know.
Yeah.
They know. They talk
They
about
know.
it all the time out there. It's the best. It is.
The actual
so
best
good.
is Central, if we're talking
think
about
so?
the best time zones. Yeah.
Why?
'Cause, with the West Coast, sometimes you get that. If you're a fan of an East Coast team, you're getting that it starts when I'm at work time slot.
Right.
Like it'll be a 4:00 start if it's 7:00 game. So if you're a fan of an East Coast team, it's a little difficult. But in that Central zone, everything's just kind of prime time.
Right.
You know, everything's in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, but then you got to
for the
live in the
weekend.
Central.
Damn.
What are you saying?
Adam's saying F Chicago.
You don't like Chicago?
No, Chicago's great. Denver counts as Central, right?
I don't know what.
And Minnesota
time
would
zone
count as
Denver
Central.
is.
By the way, I think you're on my headphones because I'm
You deserve it.
Time
It's
zone
cutting out.
is Denver.
But yeah, so
Denver's in the Mountain Standard Time.
they're Mountain Standard.
They're even Denver. It's a good debate between Central and Mountain, which one's actually the best for sports, because you even get like a little extra more time,
Right,
with
okay.
the Mountain. So
Well,
I don't know.
Stouffville is in the Eastern time zone.
Yes.
But I will say this: Molson Canadian is the big sponsor here. They're an official beer for hockey and the partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs and the PWHL. They're involved. It's fair to say. And I'm really excited because Molson Canadian is going to give you the chance to play Call the Shot, where you get to make some predictions for your chance at $40,000 worth of prizing. That's at BP Stouffville, February 12th. Molson Canadian wants to bring everyone in on hockey. If everyone includes you, and it does, you should be there. and you can buy tickets right now. They're in the link.
You can get a
Description.
brand new luxury car
No.
for like 2 months worth of groceries. The choice is yours.
$40,000 worth of prizes. Doesn't mean it's $40,000.
Oh,
There's a difference.
Oh,
Yeah. Prizes in value of, I would assume, tickets and memorabilia and.
groceries.
No, I don't know about groceries.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Got it.
Anyway, this location is also owned by NHL alum and friend of the show, Keith Acton.
Who has a Stanley Cup ring?
That's right, with the Edmonton Oilers. And he also played on a line and centered a line with Guy Lafleur, as he told us, which is bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
no big deal.
Craig Berube.
And was an assistant coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs for years during the last really good era of Toronto Maple Leaf hockey before this one. Now, usually, because we are Leaf fans, and this show really is sort of like the NHL through Leaf fans' eyes, we would start with
What?
the Monday night games. Like, right? Don't you think?
Kind of.
Yeah, like we're Leaf fans and we've got our perspective on other things happening in the NHL. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's incredibly right, actually.
The only thing that annoys me
Uh-huh.
is when we talk about another team and we criticize them, and people go, "Yeah, what about the Leafs?"
We're like, hey, man,
I'm like, "What about the Leafs? I wasn't talking about them."
Never heard the show, huh?
Yeah.
Never talked to another Leaf fan. No, I today we got to start with the Edmonton Oilers. And this absolutely bananas, bonkers, what the hell is going on here statement. It's short. I'm going to read it all to you. And it has to do with an event we spoke about last show, which was the Connor Garland, Connor McDavid, the Connor v. Connor.
This went in the total opposite direction I thought it was going to.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So the statement says this: the Edmonton Oilers have released the following statement. I don't know why they need to say that on the statement, but they said,
That's actually a very good point.
regarding the 3-game suspension of Connor McDavid, the Oilers organization is disappointed, and we share our fans' frustration over the 3-game suspension of our captain, Connor McDavid. We support him through this process, and the organization and our fans look forward to having him back in the lineup versus Seattle next week. Now, they go on to talk about McDavid scoring 20 goals and 45 assists in 43 games. Yeah, his stats are amazing. Slated to miss Tuesday's game versus Washington, Thursday versus Vancouver, Saturday versus Buffalo, returning next Monday versus Seattle. Now,
Thursday versus Vancouver is very interesting. I didn't realize one of the games he was being suspended for is against the Canucks. So doesn't it feel like the Canucks are being rewarded?
well, I think you trade Myers for McDavid any day of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the game that's in question is the Buffalo one, right? He was probably going to be out for the Vancouver one regardless.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a 2-game.
I get. We're gonna get into it.
So I think we need to start with the 3-game suspension itself, because I remember Jesse saying on the show, and I didn't disagree with him. He was like, 1 game or 2 games is probably going to be fair, right? That's what you said on Monday.
Yes.
Yes.
And I can see that it was, when Matthews did it, it was 2 games. Earlier this season, it was 1 game.
Timo Meyer.
Timo Meyer.
I always
And in
forget.
the playoffs, Carson Soucy against
Playoffs different.
McDavid.
Playoffs different.
I don't give a shit.
But now it's 3.
Yeah.
And I look at this, and this is my personal thought. This is him getting a suspension for 2 games for cross-checking Connor Garland to the face, and also chicken winging that guy last week and knocking him out the game before.
Marcus Johansson.
Yeah. So when he took out Marcus Johansson and Connor Garland, this is the NHL going, all right, we let that first one go. Now we're doing summary punishment.
That
Lifetime
doesn't make-
Achievement
that doesn't
Award?
Make sense.
That's how it feels.
Yeah,
No,
but
no. Okay.
Otherwise, how else does 3 games make sense?
it doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't make sense. It's the wrong amount of games. It should have been a 2-game suspension.
Yeah, we're going to meet in the middle here. Adam has a theory. Jesse says that's nonsensical. That's why I think Adam's right. This is exactly the
Tyler
sort of thing-
Myers was also suspended for 3 games.
Yeah, but it's
No,
not
I know.
fair.
and he didn't chicken wing anybody on Wednesday, so the logic doesn't logic.
But here's where I think 3 games might have come from. Is it's both of them. They both did it. If it's only one guy, you can handle it. You can be like, this is different from this. I think if Myers got more than McDavid, or McDavid got more than Myers, there would be several small fires blowing around the country, beginning in the West. It would not be a good time for anyone, and the overall conversation was, what's Connor supposed to do? And there was a lot of support for what he did. So they're like, you know what? 3. Maybe it should be 2. 3.
No, but that's the wrong decision.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I too agree with that. That's the right statement.
So that everything you're saying to try and justify it is wrong.
I'm
not trying to justify it. We're trying to get in their heads.
Yeah, like where did this come from?
Yeah, I don't believe that they had a rational explanation for any of it.
Well, they employ like 8 people. Somebody must have tried to rationalize this. It's more than just George and Ryan Getzlaff in a room.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole committee. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that work in this department. So somebody somewhere must have been, well, here's why. Like the question has to be, okay, 2 games clearly isn't enough. Here's why 3 is. And then the answer to that question is the question that we all have, which is, what was the answer? How did he fill in that sentence? What did he Mad Libs? I'm assuming it's a guy. What did he Mad Libs into the end of that? Like, you ever play Mad Libs where you fill in the blank?
I have.
What's the fill in the blank after that? Here's why it needs to be 3 games.
I don't think there is one. What I was going to do is welcome with open arms the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers fan bases into the if this is the standard going forward club. Every time a Leaf gets suspended, well, if this is the standard going forward, then fine. And it never friggin' is.
I see there was a lot of criticism about the Oilers releasing this statement, and I'm completely on the other end of that. I think they were completely justified in releasing a statement and saying something because the decision was not consistent with any of the decisions that the NHL has made for suspensions, for cross-checking. So I think that they should express their frustration with that, because everybody should be frustrated in this situation because there is no logic to having a 3-game suspension.
The problem is I don't think they did that. Like they just
No,
said,
they didn't do that.
We're disappointed, and it comes off as whiny. And if they say how they really feel, they're going to get fined.
Exactly. So I think this is the most they could do. So I'm crediting them for doing the most that they could do.
I understand.
The Edmonton Oilers organization is disappointed, is how that statement reads. And then there's like one other sentence after that. Doing that, those 5 words there is the most they can do. And they went there and they did that. So credit to them for at least standing up to the Department of Player Safety, which cannot do its job.
Well, I think the line that got everybody and got me, and I still think it's hilarious, is we support him through this process. Give me a break.
Well,
it's 3 games. You'll be fine. Now, does that make it not fair? It's still completely unfair. But all you needed to do in that statement was say, we're really disappointed and disagree with the thing, and Connor will be back Monday. We support him through this process. He's a grown man. He's a captain. He went to Game 7 of the finals. Connor McDavid is good. And we know that Edmonton supports Connor McDavid. We're well aware his agent is the freaking president, okay? So, I get it, okay? The team's built around this man. That to me in the PR statement, and I know it's a small thing, but it was hilarious, is we support him through this process.
No,
come
Adam,
on now.
No, that was a delicious tidbit.
Yeah,
delicious tidbit.
I think it should be in there, because in there you want to express how disappointed Connor is as well in there without saying that. So saying that we're supporting him, like he's in the back in tears, we have to help him because he's missing this game against Buffalo. We're supporting him through that process, and that's kind of what they're trying to express in those couple words there, because they can't say anything, as Steve said, and they gotta provide as much color as they can to this 2-sentence statement. I think it's great.
Can I throw something out there? The fact that McDavid and the team can't speak their mind on this is bullshit.
No, that's pretty normal.
I know it's normal. I know,
pretty normal.
Yeah, but a lot of normal things are bullshit.
I guess.
And this is bullshit. They can't say how they feel. So leave it up to us. This league doesn't know how to officiate this player.
Yeah, or any player. Like I
do you enjoy your monster, Dr. Frankenstein? You created that. You created that. You let him get figure 4 leg lock. Now wait though. The we support him thing, I always try to look for this than that, right? There was a report that came out from, I think it's a podcast called The 2 Mutts.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to.
Oh, that's what you're getting to.
Yeah.
Okay, bring it up, because I think these 2 things are connected.
So 2 Mutts says, and I don't know how real this is, but they said, we are hearing that Connor McDavid and his camp are strongly considering scaling back their NHL tour events, such as media interviews, to push things for this league. This was communicated before the NHL because the lack of protection of superstar players it gets in this league. This is a story we'll follow over the next few weeks. Now, they have a point.
It's important to note that came out before the statement.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And I think the one thing that I have been annoyed with NHL players, generally, specifically the superstars, is this I don't give a shit attitude. Like, I'm sorry, I'm an athlete. I just don't care about the future of the sport or the health of the sport or the health of the players union or how we're officiated. I'm respectful to Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin for all the things that they've done. Neither of them have taken a stand on anything against the league. Except for Ovi going, I'll take my 1 game suspension and skip the All-Star game. I don't care. And it doesn't mean that it hasn't happened behind the scenes, but I think, you've probably got the agent working overtime here, trying to, getting things out, right? Because it's not Jeff Jackson anymore. It's Judd Moldover. Moldaver.
Who represents, let me check, everyone.
Everyone, yeah. He's got some good clients. And I don't blame him. If I were the agent, I would want to be doing the same thing. I think in this situation, Edmonton releasing that statement, the NHL lets that fly off its back. Where leagues tend to run into issues is when the star players of those leagues sit down across from them at the table and go, I'm not going to do this. We're not going to stand for this. The NBA is great at it. The NBA PA has like all the superstars ahead of it. It's like it was Chris Paul and LeBron James and so many other these big guys coming in and going to the owners, hey, listen, this is bullshit. And since we have the power right now because we're the product, we're not going to stand for this. This part of it, if Connor does threaten this, he's obviously, there were some people claiming that, he should sit out the 4 nations, which, come on, ridiculous.
Okay.
But there is, and we've all discussed this many times on the show, a real problem with NHL player safety. Here's a real
and officiating.
But let's start with just player safety.
Sure.
And I know that the officiating or lack thereof led to this.
Well, I think one is getting better, the other's getting worse.
But player safety is an easy win for the NHL. Connor standing up to the NHL can force some change and go, you need to release guidelines on this, or if he pulls his services back, the NHL hurts for that. That's not good. The NHL's on a roll. And they don't want to get off this roll. This is going really well. They got TV rights deals to worry about. Their ratings are up. Things are looking good. If Connor McDavid isn't, waving the flag, that's a problem for them. So here's a real easy win, NHL. Let's have a standard and let's hold to it. Why hasn't this happened? So Connor can get a win here and it'll look like a champ. The NHL can get a win here because they'll actually be accountable for this. And it's a win-win for everybody. I just don't know if the NHL is smart enough to take the easy road here and actually put this shit down on paper and have a legitimate benchmark for if this, then that. But also, every piece is different.
And none of this is a problem if they simply give him 2 games. None of this is a conversation. Yeah. We all move on with our lives. And there's a lot of people who like clowning on Connor McDavid, and they'll call him a crybaby in this situation because it's sports and they don't like the other team, and that's how you should react as a fan. But you also should realize how important this individual is to the health of the league. He's the next generation. He's the superstar currently driving the big marketing for this entire league. And if you want this league to grow, he's going to be a large part of that. So there needs to be some sort of respect here for this player and what he does on and off the ice.
First of all, a cross-check to the face has been nothing, a fine, 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 5 games. That's how you know the next player is getting 4. Because it's always something different. 4 is the only one that's left. I'm great at poker. The other thing with Connor and this whole situation. So with that report, God, this feels familiar. Well, it's just some podcast talking about it. What do they know?
Hey, listen, did you hear about the 3-on-3 league?
Sometimes those podcasts are talking out their ass, and sometimes they have good shit.
Yeah.
Right? So when that statement came out, I was like, okay, we support him through he's pissed. He's really pissed. Like, we support, no, he's not going to die. He's going to survive. He's going to be fine. Yeah, he lost nearly $200,000. He's going to be fine. He's pissed. So let's go back. Let's go back a year. And again, I'm so smart and so informed because of the CJ show. CJ talked about how this was a really big deal for McDavid, the All-Star game last year. him, and I want to say Matthews, but let's just focus on McDavid. He was out there recruiting players and telling them how important it was for them to participate and participate enthusiastically.
Kucherov didn't get that memo.
In the All-Star game, Kucherov doesn't get any memo. He marches to the beat of his own drum. That's why he's so good. That's why he's so insufferable. That's why I would have his jersey and his decal on my car if he was a Leaf. But McDavid went above and beyond. McDavid last year was the star that we've been begging for. And the NHL's doing so great. Well, how come? How come ratings are up? Stanley Cup final did really well. Well, how come? Me. It all comes back to 9-7.
Well, maybe Matthew Tkachuk too. Featured in People magazine.
Come on. Adam.
He was in People magazine.
Adam B. for real.
It had nothing to do with the All-Star game.
Matthew Tkachuk is a gift to the league.
We're
too.
talking about the finals too, right?
Yeah, we're talking about all of it, but be for real. It is Connor McDavid, and if you want, also Connor McDavid.
Right.
It was all Connor McDavid. So he went above and beyond. I did that for you. Stanley Cup final, I did that for you. Mm-hmm. And this is how I get rewarded. I get figure 4 leg locked, and you have the same dinosaur you've had fucking all the other Canadian teams officiating my game and not calling it, right? The older and more experienced an NHL ref is, the worse they are at their job. It's just a fact. It's a fact. Not interested in a debate about that. I've told you about this. This is a concern of mine. I'm not being a baby about this. I'm not whining because I lost. This is a legitimate concern of mine. What's your concern? You want the All-Star game to go well. I did that for you. You want the sport to thrive with a genuine superstar at the head of it. I did that for you. I stick up for myself because you guys won't do anything, and I get more than the standard that's been set. Fuck you. I'm not doing shit. Have fun selling tickets to this event where you're trying to... The fans in Montreal have the Habs, they have the Laval Rocket, they have the Victoire, they had the World Junior. Whose brilliant idea was it to have the World Juniors and Four Nation Face-Off in Montreal in the same year?
I thought it was Ottawa this year.
Wasn't it split?
Ottawa.
It was Ottawa.
Wasn't it split?
No,
Ottawa,
it was
Montreal?
Ottawa had the World Junior system.
I thought it was split.
Okay,
No.
well, I can check that.
Okay, well, anyway, doesn't matter. Regardless, the tickets aren't fucking selling
Yeah, sure.
in Montreal. The tickets aren't selling in Boston. You know who could help with all that? The model student that has been going above and beyond. I could collect my paycheck and work on my knee that I fixed my damn self. I could ice my ribs that I keep getting brutalized from every damn cross check. Ice my back. You know what? I think I'm taking the day off. You know, I think my schedule just cleared a little bit. We've been begging for this and begging for this and begging for this, and he gave it to you and you spat in his face. Don't blame him.
Yeah, that's why I didn't appreciate both of you coming into this with the energy that you did, where you're trying to find leeway for the NHL and that, like, oh, it's because of
I don't
Johansson.
think that is a complete misrepresentation of how we came in. That's completely not what we did.
I thought you were trying to find justification for the 3 in Johansson, and then, oh, maybe it's because both of them did it. And I don't think the NHL deserves any leeway in that, in us trying to find logic in what they did, because they simply did the wrong thing. And I don't care what justification they had for doing the wrong thing, it was wrong, you know? And I think everything that was said for the last 17 minutes after that is the point that the NHL got this wrong.
Yeah. And I don't want anyone misconstruing, oh, so McDavid should get away with it. No, since when has it been 3 games?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's never been 3 games.
It's probably 2, maybe 1.
Of course a cross check to the face is a suspension. What the hell? Since
Yeah.
when has it been 3 games?
And on the last show, you spent 15 minutes talking about how the ref failed in the first place with Connor Garland jumping on McDavid. And then Blase saying afterwards, yeah, so I cheated and it worked.
Yeah, it was totally fine.
Yeah. And so this is where, Jesse, the reason that I started the show that way was because when you look at things that don't make sense, it's natural to go, okay, there's got to be some sort of rationale that this other side is applying to this. And I think a major problem for Gary Bettman today, and I don't know if he sees it as this, but it is a problem, is when you hire bad people, you get bad results.
I don't think he sees anything as a
Okay, but listen to me.
Yeah.
When you hire bad people, you get bad results.
Okay, let's be careful with bad people.
Like bad at their job.
Oh, okay.
What do you think I meant?
Well, listen, Adam, you got a spoon thing.
Okay,
spoon
right.
feed.
When
things,
you hire,
especially in volatile conversations like this one.
When you hire incompetent people, how's that?
There you go.
Incompetence, Gary has just created a headache for himself by hiring incompetent people to run his department. And the reason that that's the case is because a lot of the NHL runs on, hey, he's my drinking buddy. And that's a problem, right?
Adam,
so Gary now has to go and mend this relationship. He's going to have to go and mend this relationship, whether it's Gary himself or one of his people, and try to get Connor back on board because the NHL is on a roll and they've got rights issues that they want to talk about. And Alan said it in the last show. Gary came to the Board of Governors meetings and said the amount of money that we will get for the national rights package in Canada will be 3x the last one. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's about $450 million American dollars every year.
David's
so we're talking
salary
about
going up 3 times?
$1.2 to $1.5 billion per year for a national right package, which does not include your regional games.
Right.
That's what they're expecting to get. So if McDavid's like, I don't think I'm going to be involved in that, that's a problem for him. And so when you hire incompetent people, you then have to clean up their mess. And this has been... it always takes the best player in the sport for change to happen. No one cares. No disrespect. No one cares. If this happened to Matthews, Oilers fans would be like, right? If this happens to Nathan McKinnon, people who hate the Avs are like, but it's Connor McDavid.
Wasn't it Jared Spurgeon got speared in the face by Gustav Nyquist?
No one cares.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a large majority of NHL fans right now laughing at the Edmonton Oilers going, it's McDavid. I feel like that's
because of that statement.
Because that's hockey, that's fandom, that's sports. And I think that's okay. There's going to be plenty of people who respond to this and be like, McDavid's a crybaby, all that stuff. But I think the rational way to look at this is how detrimental doing this to him and both of them, honestly, because neither of them should have got 3 games, and how the Department of Player Safety is doing the wrong thing here.
The reason I was giving you smushy face on Bettman has a headache. Please save this clip for when Peros is inducted into the Hall of Fame as a builder.
Well, Gary won't be alive.
The game is rigged, man. It's until the I want this guy to retire. I want that guy to retire. It's an ecosystem. Mm-hmm. Here's the problems breed, right?
Yep.
And they create offspring, right? What is Bill Daly other than Gary Bettman's professional son? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or whoever is next. I just don't see this problem ever getting fixed. Peros gets hired. What's player safety jammed with? His friends. His younger friends. And you know what they're going to do once Peros is gone? Hire their younger friends. I hope as a hockey fan and someone whose life professional life revolves around the NHL doing well, I simultaneously need the league to do well and do better than it is doing, and need things to change in order for that to happen. And I don't know if both those things can happen at the same time. I just don't. Mm-hmm. They got to suffer a bit in order to figure this out. And I just don't trust them to be smart enough to solve what ails them.
See, I think Connor can push this.
I hope so. I mean, and listen, like Canucks fans are going to be all over us for this. McDavid can't do what he did. He can't do what he did. But like, let's be serious here. Garland was like nanny boo boo about it after the game. Mm-hmm. He very much was. What he did was wrong, and I hate the depiction of what he did as it's a 2-minute minor. No. This isn't. There's not 12 minutes left in the second period. This is less than 20 seconds left in a 1-goal game.
Even if he gets called for the penalty, they got to take a face-off.
And he, by his own admission, is like, yeah, well, I simply cheated to win. Like friggin' Eddie Guerrero. Except it's real and counts. It isn't scripted. This is a bigger issue than that. And if it's Quinn Hughes getting decked in the face, you're going to have a much bigger problem with it. You don't think the Canucks, you don't think Francesco Aquilini is releasing the same thing, but potentially more
I think the
unhinged?
Canucks have enough going on to worry about that. They've got their own problems, man.
Well, I think that's the sort of thing Francesco goes, you know what I'm going to do? And Rutherford goes, well, hold on. So maybe he would have prevented it. But I think, anyway, shoe would have been on the other foot. But McDavid has power here. I hope he uses it.
I think he's trying to. So this is where we wrap this part of the segment. I want to know what you guys think happens here. Obviously, McDavid's going to play in the Four Nations. Like that is ridiculous. And to be honest with you, when anything happens in Edmonton, it is fun to see the freak out. But this was, I think they were wronged. I think everybody knows that they were wronged. Still interesting to see the takes. Mm-hmm. So we go to, where does this end? Let's say the Four Nations is a wild success ratings-wise. I don't know how the ticket sales are going to go, but wild success ratings-wise, Connor McDavid scores the winning goal, that sort of thing.
Sure.
He is the most in-demand person in the sport. Let's say he does withhold doing NHL appearances. What then happens, right? How does, you've got this, it's weeks away, the best players in the world, weeks away. Mm-hmm. Most of the best players in the world, a couple countries shut out of there. What then happens? Like, you got playoffs to promote, you got next season to promote, you got the Olympics, you got a whole bunch of things. What happens?
Well, like Connor McDavid, every time he's in front of the net, or every time he tries to enter the zone, or every time he tries to do anything, maybe the NHL should just sit there and take their lumps.
You think so?
Well, they have two ways of responding to this. Either the problem gets worse, and they say, F you, and the whistle for McDavid gets even worse. And there's precedent for this. We know it works this way. Dennis Weidman, Canucks fans are very familiar with Stéphane Auger with regard to Alex Burrows. And that whole game, you can look it up. It was a travesty. Or they can sit there, eat their shit, take their lumps, and at some point reach out to McDavid and go, all right, Connor, loud and clear, new standard going forward, and then prove it to him.
Jesse, what do you think?
I honestly think we're going to arrive on Saturday. They're going to play that game in Buffalo without Connor McDavid. They're going to play their next game. Connor McDavid does his media avails. He talks about it, disappointed, all that stuff, and then we move on. Because that's how it always happens. We move on after like a week. We'll sit here next week, next Wednesday, and this isn't going to be a story, and it won't be a story forever. Until the next time somebody gets suspended for cross-checking somebody in the head, or the next time McDavid is in an incident that might require supplemental discipline. That's the next time we'll talk about it. But in terms of a news story and withholding services and all that stuff, we're moving on 7 days from now.
The news cycle moves quickly. And Jesse, you make a good point. The most boring outcome is usually the most likely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Get ready for Puck Drop at BetMGM, official sports betting partner of the National Hockey League. Jesse, you just dropped a pen.
Like I dropped the puck.
Oh, I
was dropping the pen like
That's
a puck.
not where I thought you were going.
No, I did it.
From game-winning goals to spectacular saves, BetMGM gives you the chance to take those highlight reel NHL plays to a whole new level. BetMGM has something for every hockey fan. And BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 19 years of age or older to wager. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
Let's go.
Well done.
Never in doubt.
Well done.
So we could talk Leafs, but I'd prefer to do this for my own self. The report is out there, guys, that the Pittsburgh Penguins are considering a fire sale. Mm-hmm. But that fire sale does not include Malkin, Crosby, at least, and potentially Letang. And Karlsson, you can't move. So is that a fire sale?
No. No, that's a garage sale.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, can we have like a 5th rounder for a 3rd liner? Sure. What'll you give me for this? That you're not at a car dealership. You're on my lawn. I got some old garden shears. Like what are we even talking about? Who is a pending free agent on the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Well, I think Marcus Pettersson is the one that yeah. So
Damn.
the report is
He's good. I like him.
Marco D'Amico from RG.org.
Okay.
And D'Amico asserts that Crosby, Malkin, Rust, Tomasino, and Pickering are the only players Pittsburgh has no interest in moving. Sorry, I incorrectly said.
So what kind of
Letang.
fire sale is this? We're not moving
So you've got
like 10 guys?
Pettersson, Grzelcyk, Anthony Beauvillier with expiring contracts, Raquel, Karlsson, Letang, and Graves, who would be available and have years
Raquel
left
would
on their
be
deals.
Stupid. They should move heaven and earth to keep him. Who are the other names?
Raquel, Karlsson, Letang, Graves, Pettersson, Grzelcyk, Anthony Beauvillier.
Okay, Adam, bear with me. Start the list of guys who are available again.
Marcus Pettersson, Matt Grzelcyk,
No,
Anthony...
no. Slow. Marcus Pettersson.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Matt Grzelcyk.
Power play specialist, meh.
Traded for a 4th at the deadline, Anthony Beauvillier.
Meh.
Ricard Raquel.
Good.
Eric Karlsson.
Redonkulously expensive.
Chris Letang.
Old.
Ryan Graves.
Absolutely not. Oh, is that the end of the list?
That's it.
That's not a fire sale. Hey, the Penguins are open to trading their problems? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Plus Ricard Raquel? Guys, what are we doing here?
Well, and this is where I wanted to ask you guys about, is this the start of a rebuild in everything but name? Okay, Crosby and Malkin want to stay there till the end of their careers. That's fine. I get that. Letang is making $6.1 million. Guys, he's not playing up to his $6.1 million. But if you get Letang retained,
Sure.
then at $3 million, you're like, oh man, I'll take that. That's great.
Everyone knows they're rebuilding except them. The rebuild began when they traded Gensel. Guys, I don't care what they think this is. You traded Jay Gensel. Who didn't he want to stay?
Yes.
His teammates wanted him.
He wanted to stay. They wanted to extend him. By the way,
That's a rebuild.
since last show, Ryan Graves has played 2 more games, still has not registered a point.
That's a rebuild. What are we doing?
Well, and I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, so
So the rebuilding team is open to ditching players who don't help them moving forward.
well, so I think I'm looking at this, and I wanted to ask you guys about this because this felt like, okay, Eric Karlsson at $10 million. Eric Karlsson at 11.5 was a lot. Eric Karlsson at 10 is a lot, right? Just due to age. But he's got 32 points in 49 games. I know a team, the Leafs, who could use an offensive defenseman. Is Eric Karlsson at $7 million an attractive thing where you'd give up major assets for? No. Jesse Blake.
Do the Penguins have retention slots available?
That is a good question. I would imagine that they do. I think the only team that is retentioned out is the San Jose Sharks at this point, but I will check that. And, you know, the reason I ask this is if they start to go down that road and retain on some of these contracts, that 3 buyout retained. Oh, they have 3 buyout retained.
Yeah, so they don't
even have retention.
That's not possible.
Oh
the
my
question you
God.
asked.
That's not even possible.
Yeah.
So they would have to.
They have to move these guys at full jack.
Yeah.
They would have to get a third team involved, and they'll get pennies on the dollar because you have to get a third team involved, but you weren't able to retain yourself.
And you got to pay that team to retain, obviously. And it's significant.
You're boned.
And here's the other thing. Here are the 3 people that they have retained on / bought out. So Jeff Petrie was a retention when they traded him to Detroit.
And that probably comes off the books, what, this summer?
After this, this summer.
Okay, so maybe they do something.
1.5.
Yeah.
Riley Smith, they had, which they moved. They wanted to move him. They wanted to get him from Vegas. That was one of Dubas's first moves, was to get him from Vegas.
They retained to send him to New York?
$1.25 million.
Oh,
that expires
bro.
this summer. And then Jack Johnson, which was a buyout, which was a Ron Hextall move, which was stupid. They bought him out.
So when's that?
That's 2 years from now. Almost $1 million a year.
What are they doing, man? Well, what they're doing is they're still, it's not all doom and gloom for the Penguins.
Really?
It's going forward, it's a world of shit. But
with those slots you were just talking about, one of them's a buyout, right?
Yes.
So they still do have one retention spot.
They got one. Okay.
Yeah, because you get 3 retention spots, but the buyouts don't count for that. So I was wrong there. So they can retain salary if you said the Jack Johnson one was a buyout.
Yes.
Okay, so they got one retention spot left. Okay, so there you go.
So if you have a retention spot,
get back to that.
Erik Karlsson, who is valuable on one side, not so much on the other, as long as he's never taking a defensive zone start, I'm happy with a guy like that on my team at $7 million, especially where the cap is going. I know he's 34. I know he's had injuries, but the guy is still scoring a lot of points. Hey, the Leafs could benefit from a player like Erik Karlsson.
It's not a bad player. It's just a ridiculous amount of money.
What they're going to need, though, is significant assets back. And in order to get those, like Marcus Pettersson, I think CJ said, Julian asked CJ on the show the other day, what does Marcus Pettersson get? CJ's probably a second. If you get a bunch of bidders, maybe you're able to push that to a low first. But
that's pretty good.
Okay, that's great. But you don't want to trade all of these guys who hey, we don't want to trade. I don't want to give you any of my good cards, right? I got Pokemon cards. I don't want to give you any of my good cards, but I want your good card.
Get ready to get a bunch of energy cards back.
If you could take Erik Karlsson for just the salary, would you guys do that?
For the Leafs?
Yeah, no, any team. Are you
the full salary, $10 million?
Just take it.
I don't think so.
The Pens are just giving it to you for a 7th round pick. Are you taking that?
You got 2 more years after this one at $10 million.
If I'm Dubas and I'm unloading this deal, I'm sending it away for just the cap space that I get, right?
What? Yeah, but what competitive team can do that?
Mm-hmm. So even if we'll retain on some of that. Let's say it's $7 million that Adam's saying. If I'm Dubas, I'm giving that away. I'll just send it away.
I think he has to,
right? I don't think there needs to be anything coming back the other way that's significant.
Oh, I understand.
There's no trade that needs to be done.
Because the cap space is more valuable.
If I'm Dubas, I'm looking at this and it's I just want out from under this deal. I'll take all of that cap space back.
Part of the reason the Sharks retain so little is people forget the contracts Dubas just pitched out the door, and at the time it was whew. Thank goodness he got those out the door.
Man, I hate Granlund.
One of them was Granlund, who was not a good Penguin, though.
Yes, he wasn't.
It's important to note he was not a good Penguin. He's been a great Shark.
But the money was almost even going back and forth between the Sharks and Penguins.
Jan Ruda, and there was another big-ish player. I can't remember.
Wasn't it the Petrie deal?
That's Detroit, isn't it?
Oh, that is it? Oh, okay.
It was different. It might have been 3-way. Oh, maybe it was Petrie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of money going the other way. You would have to do something like that again.
And here's what I want to bring up if Chris Letang is well and truly available. First off, he has a no movement clause, full no movement clause. Mm-hmm. So he gets to choose. And even then, if you work out a deal, Chris Letang's
Mike Hoffman.
Oh, Mike Hoffman.
Ah, yes.
Hoffman, Granlund, and Ruda and a first.
I forgot.
Was the Karlsson deal. Yeah, that was 4.5 for Hoffman, 5 for Granlund, and 2.7 for Ruda.
It's pretty much Karlsson for a first.
This deal, by the way, for Letang is not a Dubas signing. This is Ron Hextall, and you can't talk about Kyle Dubas with some of these deals without talking about Chris Letang, without talking about Ron Hextall and Brian Burke. However, it's not like Kyle came in and made it better.
What GM comes into a good situation?
So
it's rare.
Here's what I'm going to give you. Do you know that Chris Letang has 3 more years after this one? at $6.1 million. He is 37 years old.
It's not going to age great.
It's also Robida, right? Like that goes on LTIR eventually.
I would think so.
Well, I mean, of all the players who go on Robida Island, where I'm like, that's some bullshit. Like Chris Letang, it's a miracle he's still playing.
Yes.
Miracle.
He's had heart attacks and he's a crazy
He didn't
injury.
have a heart attack.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
He had at least two strokes
Yes.
that I can think of.
And 51 points last year.
Gee, like, he's incredible. He's probably a Hall of Famer.
I think so.
At minimum, he's a Pittsburgh Penguins legend, multiple time Stanley Cup champion. But if one day they're like, yeah, he's not playing again, we're putting him on LTIR, I'll be like,
I think
yep.
everybody understands.
Everyone's, deserved.
Don't even investigate it. Just let it happen.
Don't even.
Here's the thing with Letang.
What? That's nuts. Who is? Oh, it's. Oh, okay, fine.
The thing with Chris Letang is he shoots right.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious.
Oh,
so does Carlson.
Someone is always going to want him, but he might be one of those guys who. What I'd be interested to know is what is the money owed on those years?
Good question.
Because
look that up.
Okay, I got to uproot my family and play another year somewhere else for $2 million.
It's not great. 4.8, 3.8, and 3.8. So there are some savings, roughly 40% in the last 2 years. But this year it's 6.2, next year it's 4.8, and it goes to 3.8. So,
I'm going to agree to a trade, and let's rank. Like what's
he has
what's
a
the best
10-team no
option?
trade list starting years 5 and 6. By the way, I should mention.
So he'll have a decision to make. Report to the team that your name is going to pop up in those rumors. Do you play those final 2 years somewhere else because they're moving you? They are, or do you just retire? Mm-hmm. And how's that going to make Sid feel? How's that going to make Gino feel? Now, sorry, what I was trying to say, a few moments ago, the Penguins are 4 points out of a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the teams ahead of them have a game or two in hand, but I keep saying it, everyone's a hot week away, except for the Sabres. Everyone is a hot week away. They're right there. The Penguins' problems moving forward are obvious and painful, but I wouldn't be surprised if this fire sale goes away real fast if the ship rights itself.
Isn't
over
it
the next
funny,
week
though?
or
We've been
two.
saying that for 18 months.
Yeah,
If they could just write themselves.
Where's the evidence that that's going to happen?
I know, but they're right there. Like I think
That's
some
a very
Penguins
Kyle
fans.
Dubas way of looking at it.
I think some
stretch.
Penguins fans are no. If it was me, I'd blow the thing up. but I think some Penguins fans are like, all right, we get it, we're fucked. Like we're screwed going forward. What do we do? What if you're okay? They're 4 points out, right?
Okay.
How do we get 4 points in? How do we leapfrog all the teams ahead of us and get one of the wild cards?
Well, it'd have to be a good team to do that.
Yeah, they did. Well, they made the first step towards that by saying Tristan Jarry is not playing here anymore.
Right. Okay. There you go.
We can assume that our goalie's most nights not going to let in a goal in the first 3 shots.
How about Montreal? They got a guy back from injury.
Yeah,
They made a pretty nice trade
with Carrier.
to boost their defensive depth.
Kirby Doc is starting to look like Kirby Doc.
And they got a little bit of luck by calling up
Dobich.
a goalie
Yeah.
who I don't even think the Habs knew he was that good. He hasn't lost yet. So is there some luck involved there? Sure. Of course there is. Where's the Penguins version of that? You're telling me that the whatever the Penguins version of the Carrier deal isn't out there? Kyle. Barry Trotz. 1-800 Trotz.
He's already
Before
made a
you
deal
get
with
to
him.
the bottom of you. Yes. He's feeling good this morning. They came back from a 5-1 deficit. Call him.
So he's not going to trade then.
Maybe.
Because now, listen, they're just a hot week away. Not the Preds, not the
No,
Preds.
no. There's like 5 or 6 teams around the league who are not a hot week away. And they're one of them.
I think the Penguins would be much better off accepting what they are And I think we've known that for a year and a half now, and especially with the
I
goal
agree.
differential is the minus 32 is ugly. It's last in the Eastern Conference by a wide margin. And I think there's so much evidence here that this team doesn't have the ability to turn around. And I would like for them to pick a direction, whether it's if they want to buy, like, do that, go all in. If you have Crosby for 2 years and you want to say we're doing everything we can to win with Crosby, then there are things you can do to go in that direction. Like, if you want to keep selling futures, you can. It's irresponsible.
But they've said that they don't want to.
Right. It's irresponsible to do that. But if you were to say we're going for it, then do that. And then the fire sale, if you're going in that direction, then tear the whole thing down. My least favorite thing in pro sports is the team that's finishing 11th in a conference, 12th in a conference, 10 even. That little middle area is where it's going to kill you because you don't have an immediate direction you're going in. So I'd like to see the Penguins, after all of these years of success, to pick, hey, we're going to fully rebuild, or we're truly going to try and sell everything for the future to try and win for 2 years here. Pick one.
I think you got to try. Okay, listen. We already know they're not going to decide to lose. They're too stubborn. They're not going to do it.
I don't think that's necessarily true. Like, I think the team can show you that we need to decide to lose, and Kyle can pick that direction if he's continually being forced by the performance on the ice to do that. And I think Kyle Dubas, because of his giant ass contract for $100 billion in 20 years, can sway management to do that, because he should have that pull if he truly is running the show as the president of the entire club.
So, last show, I brought up Jack Roslovic in like a JT Miller trade. I'm not saying this player is available or Kyle Dubas should go out and get him. But what if you were able to go out, get a guy who can help you win now, right? Get into the playoffs. And if the trade deadline, first or second week of March, shows up and you're still in the same spot, you blow it to friggin' smithereens. I don't have a problem with him giving the team the next 6 weeks or so to show us what they're made of. But if what they're made of is still this, volcano.
Yeah, you picked a direction. Like, that's exactly what I'm just asking Kyle Dubas to do. Whether it's, you want to give them till Four Nations, and after that, then you pick your direction, fine. Cool. Use the time that you got available to you, but just pick a direction here. You have a lot of contracts here that a lot of teams will want, or you can just simply get rid of because the money's not worth it, and you can use that cap space for future assets and start really rebuilding.
And I think Jesse, I wanted to back your point. I think it's irresponsible
100%.
It's irresponsible to trade futures. But if you decide to be irresponsible, which is continuing this idea that we're going to support Sid until the end, then you need to be irresponsible in that direction.
Yes.
You need to trade futures. Holding them is the irresponsible thing to do, because you're fucking with Sid's legacy, right? And you're not picking a direction. And I think
you're middling.
Well, you're middling, and you can't be middling. You can't. You can hit on draft picks in the middle of that round. Might take 3 years to develop them.
There's a lot of teams that are in a really difficult spot right now because they don't know what to do because they're all a hot week away. Like the Rangers.
But you got to put yourself in a position where you can't be a hot week.
You also got to look at the standings realistically if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams between you, and look how terrible. I brought the goal differential before,
Can you throw it up?
But the minus 32 goal differential is just, it's disgusting for the Penguins there. And you got to understand that if you want to get into the playoffs, you have to bank on the Canadiens not being hot anymore, the Bruins not turning into the Bruins towards the end of the season, Columbus not being really, really good, the Rangers not turning things around, the Flyers probably being the Flyers and not capitalizing on anything. But you have to jump all of these.
They won
teams.
3 straight.
Like, I don't think the Pittsburgh's looking at these standings and be like, you know what, we're gonna pass Montreal any day now.
And by the way, having seen what the Rangers have done in the last 10, I have a hard time believing that the Rangers are not making the playoffs this year. They hold me on that, but I have a real hard
They're
time.
really good at not closing out games in the last week.
They
It hasn't been pretty in losing late ones.
But that game last night versus Vancouver, you saw a real fight from the Rangers. Even the goalie challenging Brady Tkachuk.
Shesterkin, that was hilarious.
yes, the Rangers are bad at closing out games. And usually teams that aren't performing to their max are bad at closing out games. Sure. And you look at the 6-1-3, 3 of those games are overtime games they could have won, right? Are the Penguins that, as Jesse says? Are the Penguins the good luck Blue Jackets who had tragedy to start this year? They've come together as a team. They've been disastrously managed for well over a decade, probably 2, if you're to read what Aaron Portzline said. You know, the team that parody forgot. And yet here they are. They're I love teams like this. Band of merry men who are like, we're too ignorant to know what our weaknesses are. Let's just go for it. You finally got the Senators sniffing blood. Playoffs. Hasn't happened since 17 playoffs. Montreal Canadiens haven't seen a playoff game since the finals in 2021. They're jacked.
This is a fantastic year in the NHL. Like,
It is.
I don't think people are paying enough attention.
Race-wise, it's awesome.
Yeah.
The race is great. Are the Penguins any of those teams? They're
Realistically,
just not.
no.
They got a worse points percentage than the Red Wings.
Yes.
Dude.
Oh my God.
Dude. Oh my.
The Red Wings, who are hotter than them, by the way.
Yeah, I don't.
Man, yeah, Penguins are 3-4-3 in their last 10, man. What, like?
The Red Wings, oh my God, they were in such a deep hole. 6-1-3 in their last 10. They still have 47 points.
No, what did you just say?
6-3-1. 6-3-1.
What?
The Red Wings are what?
They were in such a deep hole.
The Pittsburgh Penguins are just right there.
No. Sorry, you're misunderstanding me. The Red Wings have done so well recently just to get to there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Whereas the Penguins have sort of been toiling in that little, nestled into that nice little second wild card spot.
I look at the
Seventh
Penguins
in the
and I
East.
say the Penguins are in such a deep hole.
Now,
Yeah.
I would like to
But
bring
if you're Kyle, you give them a couple weeks, whatever.
I'd like to bring something up. Yeah, Kyle, yeah, maybe. To quote his favorite.
You're a hot week away.
Maybe.
I need that on a shirt.
Oh,
maybe.
sorry,
I missed
the Chinese farmer. Yeah. Okay, so let's chat a little bit here about the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes. Sorry.
This made the rounds, and I'm pretty sure Sportsnet is engagement farming when they're doing this, and they know how to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sure. Fine, go and engagement farm. But Leaf fans were pissed off. They were mad.
They made us all automatically
Frustrated.
follow Austin Matthews.
Angry.
Yeah.
Leaf fans want to suspend Sportsnet for 3 games
Oh yeah.
for incompetence
They cross-check us in the face?
in their NHL power rankings. Have you seen this?
No.
So the NHL power rankings, Sportsnet puts these out all the time. And the Oilers are at the top of it. What a surprise. The Capitals are number 2. If you've been watching Caps games, you
Oh,
understand
my
why.
God.
They're unreal.
They
By the way,
beat the Oilers last night after the Oilers were the better team the whole time.
if the Leafs can't win the Cup this year, I sure hope Logan Thompson does, because I will never forget, traded at his own autograph session in Vegas last year for a third.
Logan Thompson? Ovechkin might break Gretzky's record in fewer games this year and then win the Cup, and your answer was Logan Thompson.
Have you seen Logan Thompson's numbers?
Yes, I have.
Bonkers.
But it doesn't...
Logan Thompson.
Ovechkin!
Sorry, I'm cheering for the guy that wasn't selected for Team Canada. But the Toronto Maple Leafs, power rankings as of January 20th, according to Sportsnet.
Okay.
Toronto rankings have them below the St. Louis Blues, but
What?
but above the Philadelphia Flyers for 15th.
In the league?
Yes. Now, fair enough. They had a bad week and a half leading up to that, a little, maybe.
This came out 2 days ago. They won the last 2 games before that.
This is what people are saying. Hey, man.
15th is crazy.
That's why I'm suggesting. Here's me going, this doesn't make sense. Let me rationalize it. Engagement farming.
The Blues, the Blues have been fine.
Yeah.
They've been pretty good under Jim
The Flyers
Montgomery.
have been fine.
What are we talking about?
Behind the Blue Jackets, Panthers, Devils, Avalanche, Senators are ranked, I think, in the top 10. Knights, Kings, Hurricanes, Stars, Lightning, Jets, and Caps and Oilers.
The Leaf schedule leading into the writing of that was win, 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 loss, 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 win, win. What are we? 15th. Nearly halfway down the 32-team league. I, to say the least, disagree. Where are the Devils?
Devils are
Are they above the Leafs or below?
above.
Why?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. Just below
They
the
have
Avs.
2 wins in their last
They
10
put the
games.
Senators above the Avs and Devils.
Above the Devils, yes, because the Devils have been slipping badly. What? Mm-hmm. Who are the 14 teams
The 14 teams?
ahead of the Leafs?
Okay. Oilers, Capitals, Jets, Lightning, Stars, Hurricanes, Kings, Knights,
Lightning?
Senators, Avalanche, Devils, Panthers, Blue Jackets, Blues, Maple Leafs.
Okay. Yeah.
So engagement farming?
No, I mean, we all give our opinions on the internet, and sometimes people agree with us, and sometimes they don't.
Jesse, what do you think?
I don't think.
Does that rankle you?
No,
That doesn't emotionally move you?
no. I think somebody just made something up.
Yeah?
Like that's not very. That's not a very good power ranking.
No, certainly not.
No.
That's not a I watch hockey regularly
I'm not
power
taking
ranking.
it seriously because that doesn't make any sense. Like the St. Louis Blues are 21st in league standings, and the Maple Leafs are 4th.
Now, these
So-
are power rankings week by week. Who had a good performance this week?
Yeah, that's fair.
Am
But
I
think-
misunderstanding what this is?
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe I don't. Is it like are they taking if they're taking a whole look at the season? That doesn't compute. So I just think they're not very good power rankings. So I'm not going to get worked up about it.
but if it's what's happened recently, there's zero justification for putting the Devils higher.
yeah,
There's zero justification for putting them anywhere near the top 10 if that's the case.
yeah,
They've been one of the worst teams in the league over the last 10.
Right.
yeah. I don't think whoever was in charge of doing those power rankings did a very good job.
I
So I'm not going to get worked up on just poor work.
disagree.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
I disagree. I disagree so hard that I went through all the levels of anger I have and reached numbness.
Okay.
Oh, that's so bad I don't care.
So then let's talk about that game against Tampa. What do we draw from that? The Leafs win 5-3.
Really fun game.
You get
Really fun game.
really a great game on both sides. I think that
Great match.
the Lightning were in the first half of a back-to-back. They did start Jonas Johansson. You almost get a perfectly executed Michigan from Austin
man.
Matthews.
Yeah.
Jonas Johansson stops it.
He read it. You're allowed to stop them, as it turns out.
It's crazy.
Yep.
There are the best players for the Leafs are stepping up.
Uh-huh.
Tavares is still not in the lineup, but the lineup looked good. Minton is back. Like, where do we want to
He
start,
looked
guys,
great.
with this game?
We could start with Fraser Minton.
Okay.
I guess.
So here's the thing with Fraser Minton, and this I want to set this up, and then I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Okay.
Fraser Minton's got an opportunity here to be the Leafs' third line center that they need right now. And it allows them to not make a trade at the trade deadline. It allows you to move Domi to the wing where he's better.
Yeah.
It allows you to potentially add on either wing or defense, although I think their wing's been good unless you can really upgrade.
Yeah.
Or just hold steady and go, hey, we got our own. You know how they call people who are going to free agency an own rental, which is bullshit, by the way. Fraser Minton would be an own rental because here's a guy that they did not have playing in the lineup, coming in and filling a role that they need. There's your rental.
Kinda.
That's a real own rental. Own rental for a guy going to free agency, that's not an own rental. That's a member of your team whose contract's
Renting
expired.
him from your farm team.
Yeah, well, and that's how I would look at it, right? That's a better definition. So if it is Fraser Minton that, Steve and Jesse.
Jesse, you want to go first since you were in the building?
I got no problem with Fraser Minton being 3C. I think he's mature enough, ready enough to take a step in that role and have a shot at it, especially because I don't think Domi can be trusted right now at that position. I think he's much more useful on the wing, and there's enough evidence of that. Tavares not being around really, I don't want to say it hurts them because they've been winning, but having Tavares there would be so helpful right now. But with this lineup, they don't have him. But Fraser Minton in his time in the NHL has not shown anything that he can't hold that role. I don't remember him having a big mistake that's costed the Leafs anything. And that's all you want out of somebody who's so young and so fresh in the NHL is just to not make those big mistakes. And I think he's adapted to Craig Berube's system really easily and on the defensive end where he's being very responsible playing.
Especially
center.
between Domi and Robertson.
Yeah, it's been great. So I got no problem with Minton getting an extended run here and being 3C.
He had every excuse to, I think, be crap in that game. He was on the ice for a goal against, but He had every excuse. He gets called up from the minors and sits there for a couple games. So he's not used to the pace, right? It's his first NHL game in over a month.
Craig Berube said he wanted him to practice with the team before he put him in.
Which
That's
is why
fair.
he didn't play this weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. That's fair.
I'm just giving you the explanation.
Yeah.
No, I know. No, I just remember we really disagreed with it last show, and I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, any explanation seems okay when the outcome's good, right? And the outcome's been good. But when it comes to Fraser Minton, like, man, that third line at times this season, I have dreaded them being on the ice. Just dreaded it. And he had an excuse to be crap. Domi had an excuse to be crap. He's how many games has he played at left wing this season? Probably less than half a dozen, right? And every time they took to the ice, they looked A-okay. They were great. And Berube, I noticed it's a 1-goal game. He was using them with about 5 minutes left. And this is a guy who will shorten his bench if he doesn't believe in you. So the fact that, like, that's one of the later shifts Nick Robertson has had this season.
Yes.
in a game where the Leafs have been winning, right? Like, Berube hasn't been shy to be like, all right, we're going to go with the third line. And no, not you, Nick. We're going to throw someone else in there. No, he just threw them out there as is because they've been good. Another guy who's been really good after playing well, I thought, and then being a healthy scratch, and then being a guy where I'm like, what do you even do here? Pontus Holmberg. He's looked good when given the opportunity. The Leafs keep doing this. One of the questions I got asked a few LFRs ago was, why does it take the core 4 becoming the core 3 in order for them to be great? I don't have a good answer for you. It just
Because
feels like
they're stale playing together.
when all 4 of them, but they're not. Like,
When all 4 of them are,
when all 4 of them are,
then they're stale.
God, when they're all great at the same time, you can't beat them.
Right.
But it's so rare.
You shouldn't re-sign John Tavares.
I think you resign, but I think you don't put them all on the same power play unit.
God, Marner's crazy.
That's what I think.
He's crazy. He's never looked this good.
52 assists now on the season for Mitch Marner.
Like, come on. Listen, people are going to, every time I say that, what are you talking about? You haven't been paying attention. Sorry. Nope. Never been this good. Never been this good.
No, I think you're right. And I wanted to shout somebody else out here too, guys. Matthew Nyes, who did go through a bit of a bump. He went into that game in 10 career games versus Tampa. He had 6 goals and 6 assists. So now in 11 career games, he has 8 goals and 7 assists.
Screw this team in particular.
And the reason is Amalie Arena, which is where he lost the Frozen Four.
Yeah.
And so he hates that arena and therefore has turned it into, because athletes do this, I hate that team.
I hate
It's personal.
that one in particular.
Let's talk a little bit about the resurgence of the Matthews-Marner-Nyes line, which, like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about them versus Carolina throwing up -6, -6, and a -5.
Well, they look bad, you see. So I don't feel bad about it.
What do you attribute the turnaround to, guys?
Oh, man.
And it was quick. It's a quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround. Everyone looks really healthy. Marner looks fit as a fiddle. Matthews, listen, we keep going through the timeline. He was out for a month, came back, did not look good, sat out again, came back. He hasn't looked this good since last year. Whatever was ailing him, I'm not going to say is cured because they said they're going to have to manage it this season. Whatever they've done, he looks good. There were games earlier this season where, he's getting shots, he's getting chances. He doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
He looks friggin' great. That line at their best skates the dog shit out of you. Dog shit out of you. And they do a lot of it. They create a lot of their offense with defense. When they bring the puck into your zone, you can take the puck off them. You can interrupt what they're doing, but they're going to take it back. Matthews and Marner they're so good at having 2 guys on the puck. If it's Matthews and Marner or Marner and Nyes or Nyes and Matthews, whatever it is, they're so good at just hunting and hounding you. And there were times somewhat recently where Nyes was playing timidly when he came back from his injury, and I think that caused the whole deck of cards to come down a little bit. When he is playing like the modified Jeep that we know he is as a human being, 22 years old, 6'3", 227 pounds. I'll be still my beating heart.
Benoit said in Morning Skate today, he doesn't realize how bleeping strong he is.
I love Benny. You can never make me hate Benny. But when Nyes realizes who he is, I don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that whole line.
Other than if you're Sam Bennett, torpedo him in the head in the playoffs.
Yeah, choke slam him. No, it's fine. That happens every game.
So, Jesse, did you get a sense from, first off, Willie, you told me yesterday offhanded that Willie didn't have a whole lot of time for the media on...
No, he couldn't be bothered with us.
After a win.
On, what day was that, Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he came out and... Because Craig Berube pregame had said that quote, it went around about how he's been trying to talk to Willie and learn about Willie, and he doesn't do a lot of talking at Willie. He tries to listen a whole bunch. So obviously, the first opportunity we get to talk to Nylander, that's the first thing we're going to ask him, and he had really no response to that. It was less than a couple words. In response to Masters, I think it was, who asked him about Berube, saying like, "Hey, what do you guys talk about?" We talk about things. That was kind of his response. And then he answered like 3 more, and then was like, "All right, guys," and walked away.
and he said it's 3 wins, big deal.
Yeah. He had
Which is great.
He had no time for 3 losses. He had no time for 3 wins.
Are you aware of the gem from Mike Augello? That's Mike in Buffalo. He's like,
what's that?
We were talking about Willie in interviews. He doesn't go for very long. Mm-hmm. He goes, yeah, that's why I call him 90-second Willie.
Oh,
and we all went, no. Mike, I don't think so.
I don't think that one should stick.
Yeah, I don't think people are down with that one, man.
Yeah. You also get different vibes of Nylander if he showers before his post game or after. Mm-hmm. So on Monday, it was he went and put on his suit and I guess showered afterward or before the post game. And he comes out and he's wearing his suit and he's not shirtless this time. I think he has less time once he's already like halfway out the building.
Right.
So I think he had even less time on Monday.
He's ready to go home, walk his dogs.
Yeah, couldn't get more than 4 words out of any answer. Couldn't get more than I think it was 4 questions in, and he walked away.
Willie, you gave us 1 zinger. You keep playing like this. That's enough.
Yeah, he doesn't care because they won and he scored.
Right.
So what does he have to say to anybody? But that's him.
Where are you going again? Was it Suco or whatever it is?
Sugo.
Sugo. Sorry.
Bloor, yeah. Get some pasta. You can tell you're not from Toronto.
I know. I've never been to Sugo. I would love to.
Yeah, no, you would like it. It's Italian food, pasta.
What is that supposed to mean?
You are Italian. You like Italian food.
That's a stereotype. That's a
Oh, you don't?
Oh, I didn't say that. I just said it's a stereotype.
I give that line turning around, Matthews, Marner, Nylander. I give that Matthew Mars, Nyes turning around being so good. I'm giving most of the credit to Austin Matthews being on his unbelievable goal streak since he's come back. Mitch Marner hasn't really changed. I think he's been really consistent all year. Like, we're not giving him enough credit. Like as Steve said, he's at his best right now, and it's been a whole season's worth of it. But I think the real reason that the entire line is now going, and not just Mitch when Austin's out going by himself, is that Austin has returned to his form from last year. And since returning on January 4th, he's on a better goal scoring pace than his 69 goal season. So right now he's on a 72 point something goal pace.
I rounded up.
It's 8 goals in 9 games. That's unbelievable for any top goal scorer. So I think Austin Matthews is all the way back.
He has 19 this season, not in the top 10. You have to be 20 at 20. I had it right here. You have to be at 23 to be in the top 10. Willie's got 28, tied with Sam Reinhart. Leon's got 34. Can Austin Matthews get, assuming he plays every game, can he get at least into the top 5 by the end of the season?
He's so good.
Assuming the top 5 will be somewhere in the 50-plus goal range.
Who's 5th?
Currently, it's a tie between Scheifele and Point with 27. So it's real tight at the top.
those guys are real good, and he's 8 goals back. It's going to be, I would bet no. But if there were anyone
Who could?
who would just be like, actually, I'm from outer space, him.
I want to talk a little bit about the Leafs' breakaway chances, specifically Willie, who is breakaway king. I'm noticing, and I don't know if you guys have seen it too, shot deception techniques that they're using. You ever notice when Willie's on a breakaway, he's on the foot that makes it seem like he's going to shoot right, and he ends up shooting left? Like it looks like, not to be Mighty Ducks about this.
No, I just go, ooh.
Yeah, because watch him the next time he does it.
Okay.
Like there seems to be like Mighty Ducks was like, well, he's fancy. He's gonna go glove side, not block. Gunnar Stahl should have gone blocker side. You know what I mean? Like
It feels like he needs to do less than other players. Like he just shoots it, right? Like he doesn't have to do all this. Like he's really good at shooting the friggin' puck.
but you have to deceive a little.
No, of course. There's something behind that, and obviously he's tricking goalies, right?
Right. And it's because, I mean, he and Austin, I think, are doing it. I'm wondering if the rest of the team can learn it from them.
You know who's
Robertson could learn that.
You know who Willie's really rubbing off on is McMahon, and I hope they stay together.
He's doing a lot of rush goals, McMahon. Huh?
It's not just his shot, because his shot is really good. He's getting a lot more like breakaways and half breakaways, and it's developing. He's getting better. Yeah, I know he's not a kid. Bobby McMahon is deceptively old just because of how late of a bloomer he was. He's like 28, 29. But watch for Bobby McMahon, man.
I think I had a screenshot of what you were talking about, but I can't find it on that breakaway goal. What you're saying, Adam, is correct in that when he does his leg pump on the... I'm trying to...
It's usually his left leg, isn't it?
Yeah, depending on what angle you're watching the camera from. Whatever foot he is, that's typically a shot that goes on the right side of the goaltender. But and that's how goaltenders react. You know, it's I'm looking at the body. I'm not necessarily tracking the puck and where it's going. The goalie's leaning towards that side, and he simply shoots it on the other side, which is not how you're supposed to shoot the puck. So he's shooting the puck in an unorthodox way on the breakaways, which is fooling the goalie. The breakaway he had on Monday is the exact same technique he used in the previous breakaway in the previous game. So he's just been fooling goaltenders by shooting on the wrong side that his body is supposed to be shooting at.
I love when star players just take, okay, so the usual rules don't apply to me. Oh, you're preparing like I'm normal. Well, I'm going to make you pay for that.
See, so the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing a team in Columbus that is on a hot streak, feeling themselves. And it's interesting that they're doing this with two goalies. If you don't count Jet Greaves, Merzlikins and Tarasov. Merzlikins has a 306 goals against average. Tarasov's got a 364.
So you have to score 4 goals to win most games.
Merzlikins has an 890 save percentage. Tarasov has 872. So they're doing
Tarasov's on the way up.
Yeah, I guess he's better than he was.
He is.
Greaves is the only one, and he's played 5 games. He's the only one that has a above 500 save percentage, or above 500, above 900.
I hope so.
Werenski and Marchenko have 51 and 50 points. Monahan has 41, Voronkov 31, Ken Johnson 27, and Fantilli 23.
Werenski has 50 points.
Yeah, he's in my fantasy team. It's the best pick I've ever made. He's going to get Norris votes. He is.
Oh, we've been paying too much attention to the goals. He's got a lot of goals. Holy shit.
36 assists, Mr. Werenski. So
He's got 14 goals?
yeah, second on the team, 15 goals.
15 goals?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah,
if
that's
the
a
Leafs
really underrated Norris candidate. Holy crap.
If the Leafs can upset their goaltending tonight, they can win this game. But Columbus kicked their ass the last time. And it was, by the way, coming off a game against Tampa where they looked really good.
And who was in net?
I don't remember.
Hildeby. Oh. And Hildeby's in net in this one, too.
So it's a bit of a redemption.
You hope so. You hope so. Hildeby in his last game had a better start, if I remember correctly. He'd given up a not very good goal against Buffalo, and then a not very good goal, I think it was against the Flyers. Get a good start. The Leafs as a team haven't had a lot of very good starts recently. Tampa, I thought they were great. So I honestly, the Leafs outside of the first 10 minutes of a game have been fine recently, perfectly fine. But for most games, it's bad start, and you go from there.
The Canucks and Senators lost last night, gentlemen. Canucks have been losing, except for against the Leafs. Maybe that's why
Except
they're
on hockey night.
Yeah.
They beat the Leafs, they beat the Oilers.
Brady Tkachuk and the Senators lost last night. Senators, obviously, Brady Tkachuk hasn't had a point in 8 games, which is rough. Different teams at different parts. But there's some similarities here. Both are fighting for the playoffs. Both you always look at and go, they're more talented than their results suggest. We know what the issue is in Vancouver. We know that, the JT Miller thing is going to play itself out. And it sounds like, and this was crazy. Did you see the Patrick Allvin press conference?
Well, which one? It feels like he does one every week.
Well, the one where he talked about Rick Tocchet, and this is one that's on the horizon that I was shocked by. So he said something to the effect of, I'll paraphrase it, we want him here long term, but, quote, it's a two-way street. Meaning Rick Tocchet at the end of this year who is a free agent coach and might just decide to leave.
That organization doesn't learn, eh? They don't learn. Remember when Jim Benning was their GM? And I was like, stop putting him in front of a mic. It's mean. He can't do it. Every time he does it, it's a mistake. Stop. And now they have an entire roster of new people. And we're just going to say so many words. Stop trying to talk your way out of shit. Go on the ice and win. If you don't, it's not going to work. You can't talk your way out of losing. So, with Tocchet, and bless the media for asking the right questions, obviously, to elicit these answers. The Canucks management, please learn from your predecessors and shut up. Dude, you keep backing yourself into corners and trades, and now with the coach. And what are we supposed to extrapolate from that quote?
Well, that Rick Tocchet is holding out. What else would you extrapolate?
Or unhappy, or this, or that, or that.
Well, it sounds like they've offered him a contract, and it sounds like he's going, I'm not sure.
Damn.
And that's an indictment, man.
You have got to shut the hell up.
Well, and I listen, it doesn't shock me that bad owner that is known for chaos creates chaos in organization. You see it with the Rangers. Owner known for chaos in multiple sports creates chaos at the management level. The owner in Vancouver, for as much as he loves the Canucks, and no one can doubt that, is absolutely known as a chaos creator. There are people in your life who you know right now, who are probably in your family, who are like, I try to stay away from them because all they do is cause shit wherever they go. It just kind of leaks out of their pores. It's the way they are. And I'm looking at the Canucks and going, you have the best defenseman in the league. You have 2-3 of the best forwards in the league. You've got, Demko needs to be better, but he's coming off of an injury. You got lucky with Lankinen and how strong he's been.
He's been awesome.
You were in the second round. You drove the Oilers to Game 7, and if Brock Besser's playing, I think that's a different outcome, guys. One game away from the conference finals last year, and now we're losing games like this.
Well, what do we start the show with? The Oilers supporting Connor McDavid, and a lot of the hockey world laughed at them and said, what a bunch of losers. Who supports who at the Canucks?
By the way, I just want to say, before you keep going, they lost to the Sabres last night.
Canucks.
Yeah.
Sure.
So keep going.
They're pretty bad. I meant the Sabres, but yeah. If I'm Rick Tocchet, thanks, Pat. Attaboy. Way to throw that grenade in my lap. You haven't thrown enough of those.
I'm trying to have a private contract negotiation
Yeah.
with the team, and the general manager just comes out and says that.
I'm trying to manage one of the most volatile locker rooms in the sport, and you throw that one out there into the media. Can't wait to get asked about that. It's so bad that I'm like, is this intentional? Like, to distract us all from the Pettersson Miller stuff, which has very quickly become just the Miller stuff. Because they've made a choice.
Yeah,
it seems
it's clear they're trading Miller, if they're going to trade anyone.
It seems clear Petey was the problem for a little bit, and we just alternate blame. And maybe the Canucks' whole strategy is just juggle until they hopefully make it. Did you know, as of this morning, there are 6 Canadian teams in the playoffs?
That's great.
I don't remember the last time that was the case.
Who's the odd man out?
Vancouver. They're the only one. The only one. And what sucks is if the Vancouver Canucks leapfrog the second wild card team, it kicks Calgary out. So unless Colorado goes on some crazy losing streak,
Somebody's not making it.
6 is the best we can do.
Jesse, I want to pivot to the Senators, unless you have something you want to add to the Canucks.
With Vancouver, the thing that stood out to me about that game last night was they were leading after 2 periods, and they blew the game. That is something that Vancouver has done consistently all season long. Their win percentage, or wins when leading after 2 periods, they're 18th in the league. And I had their win percentage. Win percentage when leading after 2 periods is 31st in the league.
What is it?
They have a 682 win percentage when leading after 2 periods. And in comparison, the only team worse than that is the San Jose Sharks, who have a 500 win percentage when leading after 2 periods.
How many games?
And if you look at the teams who are near the top of there, the Toronto Maple Leafs, Minnesota Wild, Seattle Kraken, all are 1,000% when leading after 2 periods. And then you have the top teams in there like Winnipeg, Florida, Colorado, New Jersey, who are all above 900. And that just speaks to me strictly, you don't know how to defend at all. And this team, I don't think right now is a playoff team at all. The West is so tight, and there's a lot of good teams in there like St. Louis and Calgary that I think are easily going to leapfrog them in the standings by the time we reach the end if they don't learn how to play defense. And I know like the Tyler Myers suspension doesn't help them here because they're already thin on D, and now you lose Tyler Myers on the back end. But Rick Tocchet,
you missed Hronek for a while.
He missed Hronek all season long, and
all season.
Now he's back in the lineup, and obviously going to take a little bit of time for him to get back up to the speed that he was at last season, playing at an all-star pace.
He's got no choice for the next 3 games. He's going to be taking on a bigger role,
and he's got to be playing. And that chemistry that he has with Hughes needs to get up back to speed. But Quinn Hughes can't do everything on his own, and right now it is Quinn Hughes and then 5 other defensemen trying to play defense on this team. And Rick Tocchet has them playing a type of hockey that he didn't have them playing last season, where they are a leaky ship off of the rush. Like teams are able to take advantage of this team and come back in games time after time after time more than any other team besides the San Jose Sharks in the National Hockey League. And it's a bad formula, and they've been doing this all season long. This isn't a small sample size. This is from the beginning of the season. They've been terrible at this.
What's their team save percentage?
I don't have that in front of me.
Oh, I thought you might have. Because I feel like this, you can't put this on goaltending. Lankinen has been in there for the majority of it and been so good. Like, is Demko bad? Like, I'm trying to think of who else they've had in net. I don't think Shilov's
team save percentage
much or
is
at all.
30th in the league at
Really?
89.
Well, okay, that'll do it.
There you go.
Yikes.
Can't win like that.
So the other side of that is
I'm surprised.
The Ottawa Senators.
Me too.
The Ottawa Senators are our first
That was a good
wild
call.
card team. Okay. Second is Montreal. Boston, Columbus, New York, and Philly are all within 2 points.
Wow.
Which is a crazy race.
It's
a
awesome.
great race.
It's awesome.
The Senators are 5-3-2 in their last 10. Really respectable record.
Totally fine.
The headline today is Senators need more from Brady Tkachuk. 0 points in his last 8.
Yep.
I have a hard time with that headline because Brady Tkachuk has been the Senator. And if we're talking about a player who goes on it's a devastatingly cold streak. Listen, I get it. I have a hard time going, well, yeah, it's Brady Tkachuk. This is the problem with the way the Senators have been built, and they have major talent around him.
I watched him fight 3 guys at once yesterday.
What's he supposed to do?
Like, I guess, listen, the headline is A, correct. B, leaving out the fact that Brady Tkachuk, for a lot of his tenure with the Ottawa Senators, has been the only guy. Only guy. We talked about this at the beginning of the season. Like, he's going to get fed up with being the guy who tries hardest every single game. And I'm not saying he's not trying now. He's just unlucky. Would it kill the rest of the team to have his back in this moment? You know what I mean? And support him and get a few goals.
Not that these two are anyway the same, but that was sort of Matthew's problem in Calgary, right? Would it kill
Chuck?
Yeah, would it kill you to?
Oh well,
and then
that was different. It's like, well, it was similar
because then the Flames kind of apparently internally were like, well, we're sort of tired of his antics.
With Matthew Tkachuk, it wasn't a matter of his offensive prowess. It was he kept trying to drag the team into the fight. Mm-hmm. And instead of going into the fight with him, the team went, ugh. Mm-hmm. And then he went to Florida, and Florida got way more violent and won. And the Flames got the Flames prior to Dustin Wolf. Mm-hmm. Dustin Wolf has made them fun again. Brady, I'm not saying the Sens aren't joining him. I'm just saying sometimes guys go through cold streaks, and someone else has to step up. Drake Batherson's allowed to score. Tim Stützle is allowed to score. Like Josh Norris is allowed to score. Who's it going to be?
But I'm wondering if the Senators, and they've taken a really hard stance, guys, about we're not going to make any big moves.
Yeah.
And I get why. Like, hey, man, let's see what we got. It would be nice to get him some physical help up front. Because sometimes it's not, and we saw this with the Leafs, sometimes it's not, I'm not trying to go out and get Kyle Clifford from 5 years ago to come out and play 3 minutes and punch a guy's face and get suspended in the first game of the playoffs.
Someone to be feisty and like your middle six.
It can't just be him, right? And I feel like that's where I'm like the Sens. If there was ever a time to make a bold move, now's the time. Show these guys you worked hard. You've surprised a lot of people this year. You deserve it.
I think when the Canucks, when the Senators talk about not making a big move, I'm not totally sure about this, but I think the context of those quotes is like, well, you need a right shot defenseman. Mm-hmm. And no, okay, we're not going to panic. All right, you need a goalie. And all right, we're not going to panic. And in both cases, they've held and done fine. Defense has done okay. Levi Merilainen, because Jakub Dobiš is doing so great in Montreal, it's taken away from, hey, just down the road, they have a similar situation with this young goalie who's come in and done really well. Mm-hmm. Long and short of it is, like, even though Brady Tkachuk is not scoring, he's still having an impact. The rest of the team has to pick up the slack, and I'm sure he'll be right behind you.
Jess, thoughts?
I think there's Brady Tkachuk in this situation deserves some criticism because he's on a 7-game pointless streak. Julian McKenzie was writing that's his longest pointless streak since his rookie season.
Damn.
Where he was on an 8-game pointless streak then. And with the Senators, my thing is that the only thing they miss is offense. That's strictly what they need right now during this little stretch where they're playing really good hockey. They still sit since January 1st, 30th in goals for per game. And it's since January 1st.
How are they even in the conversation?
They've been a really good team. They're 5-4-2, but they've held that playoff spot. And I think they've played a lot of good games. And with Levy yesterday, that game against New York, not good. Got pulled, I believe, 14 after 16 shots, 2 goals. Not a good start.
No,
so like that little Cinderella might have like it might have struck midnight. Who knows? But he had a great stretch there. And what this team needs is their entire offense to pick up, and that's got to start with your star, does it not? I feel like Staios to get this team more offense probably can get them some winger depth. They need some help in the middle six. Getting David Perron back can be their own rental for the trade.
That would definitely help.
Want to look
time.
at it like that? That'll help things.
Yeah.
And Brady Tkachuk needs to be better offensively because this is the area where this team struggles. They've been winning despite only scoring 1.91 goals per game, which isn't a way to win games. They've been finding a way to win. Now imagine if they did that plus had goal scoring.
Yeah. A little bit of just interdivisional chirping that I saw this morning. Lane Hudson has more points than Brady Tkachuk.
That's not good.
A rookie defenseman, a special rookie defenseman. Holy crap.
39 points, by the way. 39 points.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now you can go into the weeds about why Brady Tkachuk is struggling offensively. Maybe he doesn't have the right players around him and he needs more help in that situation. But I think point blank, he is struggling offensively as of recently, as evidenced by not scoring any points, and that needs to stop.
Is it time to trade him to the New York Rangers?
I feel like the Rangers. It's funny. They seemed like they were holding everything up, and now they're really holding everything up. It's not just them like, oh, let me weigh my options. It's wait, are we good?
Yo, man, if the Devils, who are apparently rumored to be on the JT Miller sweepstakes, if they get him, they all of a sudden go from
Devils.
The Devils apparently are in there somewhere. According to some rumor watcher, who freaking knows? I mean, listen, if you're a general manager and you haven't called about JT Miller, you're not, especially heading into the playoffs, you haven't done your job. JT Miller with the Devils, for me, is like a great fit.
Yeah, because
you need more psychotic in that lineup.
Yeah, when I watch them, they're still a little too very early stage Matthews Leafs.
High flying, super fast.
I'm trying to avoid the word soft, but like they're soft. They could be harder. It's difficult.
They could embody the city from which they are from.
Yeah.
Better, harder, tougher.
Yeah, no, Sheldon Keefe, who has been begging for that and basically his whole NHL career. Hey JT, good to meet you. What you eating? It's a human bone marrow sandwich. God, I love you. I could 100% see that being the introduction. No, he'd be.
And here's uncooked liver too. Me and Jake Chikrin.
Oh God, I love you. I don't. I mean, it would make them formidable as hell down the middle. I wonder what the hell is going back the other way, because that's one where. Carolina has been mentioned heavily in JT Miller talks. The Devils have better shit to offer. I mean, if you're not giving me, are you giving me Seth Jarvis?
No.
Okay.
I think it feels like a Nietzsche situation, doesn't it? He asked for the trade, but now he's found a spot.
Like even that. Yeah, but that's not what you're looking for if you're the Canucks. He's really good. He's really good, but that's not what you're looking for. I want. I'm giving you a vampire who's like 220 pounds. Mm-hmm. Most of them are skinny and svelte. I'm giving you a big one. No, the Devils, if they wanted to, would be able to come up with a way better package than probably any other team that's been rumored. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm into it.
I'm into it too. Interesting. Okay. Anything else you guys want to hit, or should we do the press conference?
That's my answer.
Yep.
Nope. There it is.
Hey now.
SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
This isn't hockey, but what are your guys' thoughts on media people / writers in pro sports being annoying? And
it's actually my favorite.
And
I'm gonna need more than that.
and pedantic and difficult and getting in the way of history.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to talk about.
I have no idea where you're going.
So Ichiro Suzuki was voted into the
Oh.
Baseball Hall of Fame.
I did
He
see
was one of the greatest hitters we've ever seen play the game ever. He has more professional hits than anybody if you can combine his numbers in Japan and America. He would have the most hits all time. If you're a baseball fan, you know Ichiro. And getting into the Hall of Fame yesterday, he received every single vote except one. One writer decided to not include Ichiro on his ballot, and he failed to become, I believe, only the second or third player to ever be unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame. The writer who left him off his ballot hasn't been revealed yet. Like, we don't know who it is because you have to agree to publicly disclose your ballot. There's a checkbox on your ballot that you can submit that says, yes, you can reveal it. So
knows.
We might not know who that is right now, but maybe it'll come out eventually. What do you guys think about this situation?
It's complete trash. Complete garbage. Ichiro Suzuki, you suck. So other players have been inducted unanimously.
Yeah, I believe it's either 2. I'm going to check and see who it is. I think it's 2 or 1.
Which means...
I know Mariano Rivera's 1. Like, he got 425, but I don't know who... I think it might be only Rivera. Yeah, okay, so...
How is he the only one?
MLB.com, because this just happened, they have the highest voting percentages in Hall of Fame history. Mariano Rivera is 425, 100% total vote, 2019. Ichiro is now tied for second. So, also, yeah, great point. How is Rivera the only one? You know how many great players who have ever played? Why would you ever disagree that they're not a Hall of Famer? So Ichiro and Derek Jeter, who also fell one vote short.
What are we doing?
We got a lot of petty writers.
30 what is that, 3,400 hits that Derek Jeter had? Ichiro probably had more.
Ken Griffey Jr. was 3 votes shy.
Get out of here.
437.
Griffey Jr.
3 people said, no. No. I'm leaving him off my ballot because I don't like him. 3 people said that about Ken Griffey Jr. Tom Seaver had 5 votes short. Nolan Ryan. Oh my
Screw
God.
off. Nolan Ryan?
Nolan
wasn't unanimous in the Hall of Fame.
Nolan Ryan's, it says there, 27-year career.
Nolan Ryan had 7 no-hitters. That's
what?
That's the most by any pitcher ever. Yes.
He probably has more no-hitters than most teams.
He has more strikeouts than anybody in the history of baseball.
And Mariano Rivera, that's like I don't want to disrespect the guy, but it's like, oh, there's only one player who's ever gotten into the Hockey Hall of Fame unanimously. Who is it? Oh, it's Peter Bondra.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Peter Bondra? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wouldn't have thrown that name out there.
Ty Cobb fell short. George Brett had a high percentage. Hank Aaron.
What?
The all-time home run leader.
9 people?
The man who had more home runs than anybody in the history of baseball at the time of his retirement did not get into the Baseball Hall of Fame unanimously.
And had it for another 25 years after.
Sorry, he is a 25-time All-Star? 25-time All-Star?
Yeah, I don't know.
He has
I don't know. I'm not.
century of All-Star teams?
Nah, I'm not putting him in.
No. 9 people said no to Hank Aaron.
Jesse, to me, it gets a lot worse when you look at the class.
Yeah.
When you look at who else was eligible to vote for, I don't know if you have that.
His paper, yeah, I can pull one up. If you want to pull that off, I'll find one.
Because I was looking at that, one of the guys who got Hall of Fame votes, very few, but was eligible was Troy Tulowitzki, and again,
Very good player.
very good player.
Very good player.
Pardon? Ichiro Suzuki. I don't understand.
So
that. And it's one guy.
So it's funny, when we talk about hockey and it's, we've learned a lot since we started the show and, whatever. Okay. Baseball is I grew up watching baseball. I can remember really bad Jays years where I watched as many games as I could. Okay. Yep. Baseball to me, the older I get, becomes more and more like a different universe. And I just this, the stats are one thing, it's a real number sport.
Sure.
But the way it is covered sometimes and the way that things are done in the Hall of Fame ballots and the fact that you can get kicked off of a Hall of Fame ballot forever if you don't get in after a certain amount of time. There's some insane shit that happens in baseball where I'm you don't have to do it that way. It doesn't need to be this difficult. This is another prime example of baseball being really fucking weird. It's weird.
Oh, it's so
It's a
weird.
weird sport. It's a weird sport. The coverage is weird. And if you talk to people and you say, that's weird, they're like, the fuck's wrong with you? What do you mean it's weird?
You ever go to a hockey game and there's a father-son sitting next to each other, marking down the shots? Next to each other. Or go to a basketball game and his 3% is low tonight. And they're manually.
fucking
Why are you
baseball.
doing that?
Why do you do it in baseball? Look it up.
Why did you pay to be here and then do that? It's weird, man. It's weird.
So this is an official ballot if you want to take
Okay.
a look at what they look like.
Good names on there.
This is the one from a writer tweeted out their ballot. This is the official Baseball Writers of America Association of America 2025 Hall of Fame ballot. Bobby Abreu, Carlos Beltran, Mark Burley, Carlos Gonzalez, Curtis Granderson, Felix Hernandez, Torrey Hunter, Adam Jones, Andrew Jones, Alex Rodriguez.
Which Alex Rodriguez? Is that the Alex Rodriguez?
Yes.
Like horse above my bed, painting of myself, Alex Rodriguez?
Yes, I owned the
Russell
Miami
Martin.
Marlins at one point.
I'm surprised he's not. He, by the way, should absolutely be a Hall of Famer. I know why everybody hates him. But
Same with
he's a
Barry
Hall of
Bonds.
Famer.
Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. Like,
Yeah.
like, put an asterisk next to it, but put him in there as a museum.
So you get 5 votes.
10.
You get 10 votes?
Yeah, you can vote for up to 10 players.
You can vote for up to...
You are not required to vote for 10, but you can use 10 checks.
So you're not required.
You are not. You can use 2 if you really.
And
if
you didn't give one of your
Yeah.
checks to Ichiro Suzuki.
Somebody had 10 checks.
You thought Ben Zobrist. What?
Well, this
No, they could have just abstained.
this isn't the ballot.
you know?
This isn't the ballot. This
no.
is just a ballot.
This voter voted for Ichiro. You can see it.
No, I know that. I know that. I know that.
Here's the thing.
I'm just hypothetically.
It's not exactly like I could have put that. I have a base level knowledge of Microsoft Word. I could have done that document myself. I'm wondering if it was a mistake. Like, did somebody just look at it and they got called away because they had to go to a meeting and
That
they
is
came back and go,
That's a way better theory.
I feel like it has to be, right? Because it's not like, look, the names are there. There's no reasons why. Like, I feel like with a document like this, it's like, here's the case for Andy Pettitte. Here's the case for Dustin Pedroia. Here's the case for Alex Rodriguez, right? Shouldn't that be like, I understand why, that would be extra work and stuff, but it feels like the Hall of Fame's a big deal, and perhaps everybody should get a refresher course on why these players were good. Some of these baseball writers are going to be older and they forget some of these guys. Some of them are going to be younger and they were in high school when these guys were great. Like, maybe it was just like a shit, I forgot to click it.
Wait, so you think they forgot to put a check
Ichiro Suzuki.
on Ichiro?
Isn't that like, well, because you just like click.
It's not click.
I got
it's with a pen and paper.
It's with a pen and paper too. Like,
Yeah.
like, is it possible that they just fucked up? Is that even possible?
I like Adam's theory. And here's why.
Okay.
Because the moment I saw one guy, you know how bad your Hall of Fame ballot has to be for me to automatically be like, there's a greater than 0% chance you're racist. Dude, how? It's Ichiro Suzuki, for God's sake.
I think it's a mistake. I think somebody screwed up. And I think when this comes out, he's
you,
gonna be like,
if you are making a mistake on your Hall of Fame ballot, you don't deserve a Hall of Fame ballot because
Yes.
this is history, right?
Well, like-
if you are so flippant about handing in your ballot, your test, your survey, whatever you want to do, like, then you don't deserve it. Then you shouldn't be tasked with this. This is a serious job.
Let's power rank likelihood. Fucked up his ballot. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's 1. Number 2 is racist.
well,
Number
I don't know if
3.
that's what you jump to. I think it's like somebody who's salty because Ichiro hit a homer against the team that they cover that they love. Yeah. Don't worry, though. All journalists don't have any sort of. They certainly don't fall in love with the teams they follow.
Okay, so
they're all of them are non-biased.
I was gonna do 3. Let's do 4. Fucked up their ballot. Is racist. Is salty. Legitimately thought Ichiro Suzuki wasn't one of the best baseball players on the ballot.
Number 3 is the most likely. I think the mistake one is me throwing a wild card in there. Number 3 is the most likely that team that year, they had it and Suzuki screwed it up. Although Seattle didn't make the playoffs very much. Maybe it was when he was with New York. I don't know. But like it feels like this is a salty thing,
Mike
which
Trout's
is what
not
I think
getting
most
an
people are assuming.
I
right?
think this is. I tried to interview Ichiro and I could never get to talk to him. That sort of situation. It sounds personal.
I don't like all the reporters that follow him around.
Yeah, for you to do this, it sounds personal.
I'm sorry. If there's 395 people and 394 of them disagree with you, you owe us all an explanation.
Yes, I think that is very true. If you're being a giant baby about this, and then you're also hiding behind it, you shouldn't vote on this. You suck.
I don't love that. If the person were to come out and be like, "Yeah, here's why," they'd probably get death threats. Let's be totally honest, because people are nuts. So I don't love that. But like when the NHL started releasing ballots, not the NHL, the writers started releasing their ballots. Some didn't want to do it. And I'm like, that flies completely in the face of your profession. Make your choice based on your expertise. You're here because you know a thing or two about hockey and the sport that you cover. Make choices based on your expertise and stand on them. And then guess what you get to do? In the 2000s.
What?
It's such a great thing for you. You get to create content. You get to write something or make a video or whatever it is that is going to create money for either you or your employer or both. No. I want to do this anonymously because what?
But also, don't just do it for the content, please. Just don't do it.
No, don't do it for the content.
Because I think we had that similar situation in the NHL 2 years ago. After his 153-point regular season, McDavid received first-place votes in 195 of the 196 ballots cast. Not having him first was shocking enough, but it resulted in even more public outrage when it was confirmed that the one writer who didn't give him a first-place vote instead had him at fifth. The PHWA has since revealed that writer Seth Rohrabaugh,
who's from Pittsburgh, right?
of Tribune Review Sports, was the writer who put him at fifth. This isn't the first time the Pittsburgh Penguins columnist has taken heat for his voting at the NHL awards. He also had McDavid and Austin Matthews outside of his top 5 in Hart Trophy voting a year ago.
So, Jesse, what does that tell you? Like, I'm not saying do it for the content. I'm saying give your legitimate opinion, and also you get to make content. But
which is what we do. That's what we do for a living.
You're like Seth Roar, like it didn't help, did it?
No, that's not a name that rolls off my tongue now because you did this.
It might be if you live in Pittsburgh,
sure,
or
if you
follow
read the
Pens.
Tribune Review Sports,
which is a long time, big time.
I'm sorry, that's a default. That's a default. If you're a huge Leaf fan and you don't know who I am, I fucked up.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So if you work for one of the how many people get the privilege of covering the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Penguins fans do know who this is. I think it's the rest of us who probably
that's
don't.
what I'm
as well.
saying.
And I've quoted from Seth's work before.
Of course.
Yeah, he's wrong. That's stupid.
He's gloriously
and I would say, hey,
wrong.
Seth, you're wrong. Cool.
He's catastrophically wrong.
Right. But you know what I think? First off, the Ichiro thing, like that aside, like Seth missed a great opportunity if he didn't immediately write, here's why I voted for Connor McDavid in fourth. No, that should have been the column. Fifth. He did.
Mm-hmm. But it's so wrong I didn't even bother.
Right.
I'm not interested in your explanation for why a player with 153 fucking points is the 5th best player in hockey.
Do we know how he voted, Jesse? Do we know who he voted for?
Yeah, it was just there. Didn't I read it?
Well, you said he voted.
Oh, I didn't say it?
Yeah, who was his number 1 and 2 and 3 for that matter?
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't. It was the next sentence. That's why I thought I read it. He had Pasternak, Jason Robertson, Ilya Sorokin, Matthew Tkachuk, and then McDavid. That's his 5.
Oh, shit. Okay. Listen, we all need a take. We do. We need a point of view. We need. That has not aged well. And no disrespect, past is great.
Connor McDavid
Sorokin
should
and
get the shit on his
Robertson.
hot dog. That's crazy.
If you
Robertson had a
remember-
great year. I'm not trying to take that away
That
from
was
him.
the season that McDavid had 153 points. It was the most points in a season since Mario put up 161 in 95-96.
What season was
The
this?
23 season, 22-23.
22-23.
Yeah, 153 points.
A quick
Jason Robertson.
quick
He
question.
had 25-point lead over Draisaitl.
Robertson had 46 goals and 109 points. McDavid had
That's Robertson's best year. Sorokin, though, he had a great year, and the Islanders went, to the conference final that year, or was that second round?
well, it doesn't
Playoffs
matter.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, though,
Yeah.
because they have to do it by game 82.
Yeah.
Did it?
He
Wait,
didn't know that when he voted.
he must have won the Vezina, right?
No,
Of course not.
no.
What kind of funhouse mirror ass ballot? Seth, what the fuck, man?
See, now, here's how you make good content out of that. You put him with another Pittsburgh writer who voted right and say, Seth. Oh. Like, that debate would be fun.
Who's the guy
I would
who
watch that?
Who's the guy who cut a promo on the Capitals in the playoffs?
Rob Rossi.
Rob Rossi. Have Rob
and
Rossi.
it was
be like,
on Barry-
You listen to me, Seth. And just start cutting a Macho Man Randy Savage promo on him.
Yeah.
64 goals that season, 153 points.
Fucking
Pasta,
goals.
who was ahead of him in the Hart Trophy voting, had 113 points.
So he had Connor
You put
McDavid.
two wingers ahead of
Connor
Oh my
McDavid
God.
had over 50% of his points. 50% of Pasternak's points. Connor McDavid still has more goals than that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you just, that is, I know that's a bonkers way to look at it,
Yeah.
but what is that? What are we talking about?
Also, I want to go back and look at Matthew Tkachuk's numbers because I can't imagine they're anywhere near McDavid.
Now I'm trying to remember what team he was even on.
I think that was still Calgary, wasn't it?
Because Kachuk's
2021?
best.
No, 22-23 would be Florida.
Oh, is that what this is?
No. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
It was his
yeah.
first
So his
year with
first-
the
yeah,
Panthers.
yeah.
Well,
he
he
had
did pretty well
40,
then.
40 goals, 69 assists for 109 points.
So that's akin to what Jason Robertson had. Didn't he have 109?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So it's three. You had three wingers?
Oh,
And a
man, I didn't
goalie.
even think about that.
And a goalie.
Oh, man.
You had three wingers and a goalie.
Do you want to pull up Seth's reasoning? Because I'm sure he...
No.
Oh, Matty
Oh,
wants
Matty wants it. All right.
The first thing when you type in his name is Seth McDavid.
Rorbot. Well, maybe it did work then.
Uh,
That's enough, though.
yeah, it's...
That's the fact that he's done this more than once. That's enough. Come on, man. Jesus. What are we
So
doing?
McDavid also had a unanimous Hart Trophy win in 21 when he won it.
So this is what happens, though. Writers are like, well, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah. So he had the opportunity to get two unanimous, and I believe it would be him and Gretzky are the only people to ever do that. And when he did it in 21, he became the first person to ever be unanimous since Gretzky in 85.
Three
So
wingers and a goalie.
Seth ruined history. Like,
Yeah.
This is part of the reason why, like, one of the things I had to dig through for the book when writing about all timers is like, are we gonna have any idea that happened in 40 years when we're looking back and we're gonna be like, oh yeah, one writer shafted. Like, you have to explain to people the Iginla Theodore stuff. Like, that was a weird one too.
people misremember that all the time.
Yes.
And I love bringing this up because a lot of people go, Iginla didn't get all the votes and everything. Taylor was also left off ballots. It happened to both of them.
And neither should have been left off of any ballot.
Yeah, but that context is being lost to history. Like,
Yes.
we get further away from it and people yell about the Iginla thing, but Taylor was also screwed in that situation.
Yeah.
And that, as time goes on, we're probably just going to forget that this happened.
By the way, and I think part of that too is that Theodore's career after that was not as good as the Ginlas. Right?
Exactly.
Like Theodore was unfucking real that season. He was unbelievable.
And also, you can't just look at, oh, this player won this award this year. That meant they were the best one. And the reason I always bring up the 1996 Vezina that Jim the Net Detective Carey got. Fucking no. Absolutely not.
I think sometimes people just want to be sort of like hipsters about it.
he wasn't a
right?
top 5 goalie in the NHL.
Like, I just want to be different. I
shouldn't
want to
have been nominated.
I think sometimes it's like, no, I'm smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
And listen, let me ask you this. Okay. Forget the Hart vote. Who'd you rather on your team? Connor or any of those guys?
Well, it's not about that, but
Isn't it? Most valuable to their
it's
team.
a little about that.
It's most
I
valuable
don't
to
hate
their
that
team.
I'd
logic
trade
at
all 5 of those guys for Connor.
I'll drive to the airport.
Yeah.
I'll rent a Sprinter van. I'm in. Like, are you kidding?
Four
me?
of them, right?
Yeah, 4.
Who cares?
Because Connor was
matter.
fifth.
Jesse, literally
matter.
add another player, and I'll trade them too.
So you would do Pasta, Robertson, Kachuk, Sorokin for McDavid.
Think of all the cap space.
Hey, yo, you'd never have a problem signing a free agent.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, you get McDavid, but I think the best part of that trade is the cap space.
It's true. It's true. Those other guys make money, you know?
Oh, boy. All right.
Hey, who the hell's playing center on that team, Jesse? There isn't one.
You got too many wingers.
Oh my God!
I think it speaks to
Freaking Pontus Holmberg centering Kachuk and Robertson.
Steve, it speaks to what you're talking about because when I look this up and I'm trying to find a rebuttal from Seth, I can't get it. Like, it's not easily Googleable that I can get like his response article or even his tweets. I've got to go searching because everything that comes up are just articles about him fucking this up. Like, I'm not getting the first click isn't here's what I did. The Tribune, you know, that should be the headline. First thing I type in McDavid, Seth, blah, blah, blah. It should be here's why I put McDavid in 5th. And that should be the banner. That should be the most clicked thing, but it's not.
You should
So
submit your ballot. Write that article at the speed of light and publish it the moment the votes are
comes
public.
out.
you didn't even get clicks out of this, you know?
Oh, you would just kill that day. That would be your best day of the year. It'd be a lot of hate.
You'd be the most
but-
read writer in the sport.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, listen, if you're doing it not to be the most read writer in the sport, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, at least if you're going to troll properly. Oh, my man, that's crazy, Jesse. I forgot about that completely.
Yeah. I think we probably had this exact same conversation in 2023. So repeat for those listeners, but it deserves it. There's also like HF boards. They did a good summary of the times Seth was a contrarian.
Oh, did they?
And we can end on this if you
Oh,
really
yeah.
want.
Just run through the headlines.
Yeah, 2018, he was the only voter to give William Karlsson a first place vote. 2019, he was one of 2 voters to give Johnny Gaudreau a first place vote. 2020, he was the only voter out of 170 to vote John Carlson in the top 3. 2021, he was the only voter to vote for Jonathan Huberdeau and one of 2 voters to vote for Patrick Kane. 2022, he was one of 2 voters to give Kirill Kaprizov a first place vote. He was the only person to give JT Miller a vote. 2018 didn't include McDavid. 2019 didn't include McDavid. 2020 didn't include McDavid. 2022 didn't include McDavid. 2023 put McDavid in 5th.
Okay.
Didn't include him. Didn't include him? You didn't include him. Okay, fine. You didn't give him a first place. You didn't include him? Every year, that player should be top 5 MVP. End of story. Are you freaking kidding me? Especially by its definition, which is most valuable to their team.
I say this as a Leaf fan who has been personally wronged by the Boston Bruins many times.
Yeah.
There's no player in the league I hate that much. If given the opportunity, like, I can sit here and say with zero reservation whatsoever, Brad Marchand belongs in the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
So what the fuck?
And I'll be rooting for him.
What's going
in the
on?
Four Nations, like I was when he was at the Olympics.
Yeah. He
Or
scored
World
the
Cup,
tournament winning goal. And all of Toronto went, yeah, yeah.
Although really not really, because we hadn't lost a bunch of playoff series to them at that point. That was 2016.
20. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was just the one.
There's only one.
Simpler times. Simpler times.
It's been a few more. So.
Yeah.
Don't
Yes.
be this. Please don't be this if you're out there and one day you become a professional writer and you have the ability to vote on awards. Don't be the guy who left Ichiro off. Don't be Seth who's leaving McDavid off for no reason.
So
don't do this.
I think
Don't be an asshole.
number 1 is guy who left Ichiro off, salty. Number 2 for me is made a mistake. Number 3, I think, is legitimately no. I think I still go racist. Nope. Number 3 is racist. Number 4 is legitimately thought Ichiro wasn't one of the best players in baseball.
I don't think anybody thought that. Yeah, it's got to be last.
Racist is definitely higher than that. That's crazy. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. I think that's just salty. Damn.
Salty number 1.
Damn.
100%.
Okay, well, listen, it's hard to get 100 people, 20 people to agree on any one thing.
You can agree on Ichiro.
The fact that Ichiro got that many, when you put it in that perspective, maybe that's a win.
Jeez.
So stupid.
No, Hank Aaron, not
Hank Aaron, man. 25 All-Star games. Are you kidding me? 25?
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Who was like he was Nolan Ryan's last perfect game, and he had like 9 of them, was against the Blue Jays, and he struck out Robbie Alomar to finish the game.
It's the only unanimous person inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, Ed Belfour.
That's
fuck?
like it.
Like Mariano's.
Yeah, all right.
Still.
Yeah, all right.
Aaron.
Yeah. What about Hank Aaron?
What about Ichiro?
Yeah, you're right. Okay. You're right. That's a good point.
I didn't say he's bad, but what the fuck? Thank you.
That was a fun thing.
legitimately
Thank you,
great.
Jesse.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.